I make a motion to approve the July 19th minutes as submitted.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yay. Okay.
Oh, what's the eyeball?
What?
Let's see if Kevin's ready.
I'm almost ready. All right, so revenue for July was at 108,000. Revenue for August is still up at $81,431.89. So we're doing pretty good. I'm tracking that back.
What do you think that is?
No, 81. So going back into, hold on one second, I'm getting. Sorry, I'm getting an echo. There we go. So we're able to go back into DOR and see where that's coming from. They're mostly new vehicle purchases. The bulk of it has always been new vehicle purchases for us, but I would anticipate people using their stimulus checks to buy new vehicles. They're home, they were bored, they bought new vehicles, and we're still getting the payoff for that for sales tax from the buy the new vehicles. So
When was that hailstorm in Jeff? A lot of people bought vehicles.
that could have been too. That could have.
Hey, Kevin, I'm getting toned out. I gotta go.
Sure, likely story.
So
Convenient.
I would relate to buying vehicles and a big push for people buying locally. So I think that's good. So, overall with that, our expenses for last month were about 57,000. Our CDs continue to accrue. So our cash on hand is about 688,000 and a half. CD wise, we're sitting at about 212. Talk about some CD investment when we get to it on the agenda for an election CD to have earmarked. Other than that, nothing out of the ordinary revenues and expenditures.
Any comments or questions about treasurer's report? Treasurer motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Accounts payable.
Hard to see there probably. Go over the bank card here in just a second. This one, what you're seeing in the bank card is actually last month's. This month's is like $3,000. We're gonna get to that separately. So
Okay.
this is the one that you guys saw last month at 1675. Is there any of those that you guys have questions on?
Get it, Grace Designs face masks.
No, that's actually was the printing of some face masks. But I was gonna deduct that out to come out of my check because it was, you grab one of those. I don't know if we have any of those. We got all the employees a face mask, and then I
I
have,
was just joking.
I'm serious though, we got our logo screen printed on them. So they charged us $40 to do it.
The reason why I was thinking that, because I just went to Grace Designs and bought my kids 6 face masks, and of which they have the little Pintos logo, and they got their name put on them.
Yeah, so I ordered these. I wanted everyone to have one just for, we've been lucky so far. But I know with a lot of stores and stuff going out there, most of them are pretty appreciative. Those that aren't, I just give one to them. But they had come with filters and all that jazz that are more than just a piece of cloth. As far as, yeah, there you go.
There's have the little.
That's really nothing. That's just,
Yeah, it's just there.
it's
for
just
look.
there. I wanted it to have the filter pocket so they can put filter in it.
Put a Brillo pad in
Yeah.
there, steel wool,
Whatever works.
whatever. Whatever those are called.
So a couple of these bigger things that you're seeing on here are actually getting refunded to us. It was a purchase and then we needed it sooner than what it would come. So found other means of getting it. So the Troopers Association, that was for a conference which has since been canceled. They moved our registrations to the next year's conference. So it's just gonna, we prepaid for the 2021 spring conference. Just because we paid for spring, it got canceled, they refunded it, paid for fall, it got canceled. So they just said, you want us to move it to the next one? And I guess we'll probably just keep moving it until they actually have one.
What conference is that?
That's the MPSCC conference, the APCO NINA
Yeah.
Director Association. Some wasp spray. See the next big one there, a carport. We needed a carport for whenever we did the mobile testing site out there. It wasn't going to be in on time. Ended up going to Menards and getting one, and we're getting refunded. The Amazon purchase of the carport, so far I got 137 back on that. I'm still talking with them. We'll either sell it. Someone said they'd buy it for what we paid for it, so we already got partial refund. Someone could buy it, get a reimbursement on it. The Lucid,
Can we do CARES Act for that?
yeah, well, if we're gonna get it refunded, I'm not gonna mess with
I
it.
know, but if we didn't,
Well, the Menards one, yes, because that's the one we actually used.
yeah.
But that was one of those where went and got it for, that's what was I don't know if you saw out there, the testing where that's where they pulled in and that's where they did the swabbing, so. Let's see. The Lucid chart's gonna be refunded. Hi, Ralph. That was something we were using for charts. Apparently our free trial expired, so they charged us. I called them and said we didn't want to purchase this, so they refunded it. It just hasn't come back on the card yet. The mounts and screens, the very last one, that's getting a full refund too. It's coming on the next one. We did some upgrades for the comm trailer for the fair to be able to utilize it more. We wanted to test it at the fair. Kind of the big test that we wanted to push for it was if the scenario being, especially with current situation, let's say someone who was sick came in and dispatched, and then 2 days later they find out they were ill and we had to sterilize the 911 center, we could actually move into that trailer for a day or two, or just be a day for us to deep clean everything in here. So we got CAD, limited mules capability, working in that trailer with internet and obviously the radio functionality. And with what we have for backup for phones, we would push them to Morgan, but we had to upgrade some screens and some mounts inside the trailer, and some little pieces for the radios to get them working. But we had it out at the fair and it worked okay. I worked in it Friday and Saturday night out there. And I wish it was a little bit busier on that end, but really just wanted to test the functionality of it all. It did pretty good.
What, the fights didn't give you enough?
Wasn't enough fights.
There's one Friday night.
I think
One Saturday.
the biggest fight that was Saturday, I wasn't even there yet because it was before.
It was early.
Yeah, it was early.
Yeah, about 3 o'clock.
It's about 5.
I wasn't there, but I heard about
Yeah. I was there taking money.
That happened behind the grandstands or something, didn't it?
Down by the old secretary stand, yeah, 10.
Oh, it was down there. I thought it was up.
it. The one Friday.
The one Friday night was right there at the top of the
Yeah.
grandstand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was at the top of the race.
yeah, because the Lions trailer, we got to see the whole thing right there.
Front row view.
Yeah, Matt Abernathy thought he was gonna have to,
Never delivered my funnel cake, by the way.
you never came down and got it. I told you, you wanted to, like, gee whiz. There was only 3 of us, man, we were like,
There's only one of me.
You gotta smell that fish frying back there.
I had the fish fry. That was good. So yeah, those transfers you're gonna see are the transfers, the rebates you'll see on the refunds you'll see on the next. Any questions on that one?
Yeah,
Move on.
yeah.
Payroll, had a couple people get sick and let's see, what's the broken record thing? So we had our new employee get released from training, which is good. And we were preparing to hire an additional full-timer because we have one that's going to be going onto maternity leave and anticipating someone who was searching for employment. So we gave someone an offer, and 2 hours later, that employee that we were anticipating confirmed their offer. So they'll be leaving, but their last day is the start date of the new person. So that one has experience.
Who's leaving?
Adam is going to drop down to part-time.
Okay.
He had an offer for a little bit better paying job closer to home with the same shift. He said he enjoys doing it. He'd like to stay part-time if we would have it. So as long as he meets requirements, he's a good dispatcher. So said he'd be a full nuts egg it because it's closer to home and probably better benefits working for a hospital with everything, more money. So.
And who's on maternity leave?
This one will be going on maternity leave in September.
Yeah,
September.
mid-September, mid to end of September. Something like that.
Just have one? Okay. We know how that works?
Quite too.
So the
Hey, sorry.
the newer
Sometimes it's just.
the new employee that we have starting next week will be trained by her future partner. So she'll be teamed up with Bailey, who's still in the front of their hour. And what's funny is Bailey actually FTO'd her or CTO'd her in her previous employment. So she gets to train her twice. So it's pretty funny how that works out.
So then is the one going on maternity leave, is she planning on coming back?
Yes. But then we're full up again. We have another one who's wanting to come. We actually have an interview tomorrow morning.
So we're gonna get Kayla and Nick to move here?
I don't know. She's a full-time, almost paramedic. So
Well, she also dispatched for, was it Callaway?
she did for a short stint, but she's her full-time job is paramedic. So she's gonna go where that takes her.
That'll be more.
Yeah, that's what her passion is. So I don't think we can keep her tied down to a chair.
Well, and then Nick, he just started at the police
And Nick
department.
started with the police department. So one of our part-timers would be able to pick up some more shifts, but she's on a quarantine, so she's out for 2 weeks, so she wasn't able to utilize her. Then we have a couple that are on the borderline of not meeting the standards for active that are going to be notified to either adhere to standards as far as adhere to policy for
Who's that?
requirements. I'm not sure off the top of my head which 2 part-time employees. There's one of them that's a operator Gladback, and that's probably the main one who's closest. So the policy states for part-timers, they have to work essentially it's a shift a month, but we do it by the quarter, so 3 shifts within a quarter. And then they have to attend a minimum amount of trainings and staff meetings. And as of late, we've been using Zoom for those, so it's making it pretty accessible for them. Oh, and then we had an employee who was injured and
Here?
no,
All right.
I'm gonna say what?
and an employee who went on a vacation, so a well-deserved vacation for her. So.
You?
No, that's an even more well-deserved vacation. She got to take 4 days off like 2 months ago.
It's like
so-
you, yeah.
No, Melissa took a week or so, so that was good. So, and it's just one of those things you want them to be able to take off. And whenever you're kind of at that threshold and everything, everyone's been getting a lot of stuff. So for their mental health, by gosh, take time off. And
Jackie, let's take vacation.
Jackie got to take vacation too. So. Corey got to take vacation too. So it's good that we're able to do that during the summer months. Payroll costs are all in there. They're pretty comparable. That's in there for
You work here.
you, Leslie.
Huh?
You work here, it is.
What's that, vacation? Every day's a vacation here.
Well,
So for our full-time line, we're pretty consistent with that. We're actually doing pretty good for full-time. Part-time, it's a mix. We're for this quarter, a little below. We'll look for that to be kind of leveled out, I'd say, between now and the end of quarter four. Overtime, I wouldn't even look at that one. That's just gonna make you depressed.
Gosh, you can't even read your
Well,
mind.
you'll
They're all
get some of
over.
that reimbursed.
Some of that will be reimbursed, yeah.
Yeah.
Make those lines a little straighter.
So are we one of
Huh?
those
Make those lines a little straighter.
Yeah, well, we'll get, because overall,
Well,
where
I'll-
are we?
I'll say
Are
the,
there strict stipulations for the?
for the CARES Act, it's a pain in the butt. We're having such a hard time dealing with the,
Yeah, I know.
Sarah, quit being so stiff.
It wasn't my fault this time. We had it all figured out and submitted, and then we went on the conference call. No, we went on the conference call, and Brandon at the state treasurer's office said, no, we need to break it down differently.
Like
bureaucracy.
We had,
us
we had,
or like anybody in general?
yeah, we only got, out of the 5 applications, we had 2 that got approved.
What kind of money is being utilized? I mean, what kind of money do we have to utilize?
$2
We
million.
we received as a county right at 1.9 million.
And how much have we been able to fund?
$5.
We've only spent about $7,000 over so far. That's been approved. Now,
How much money do you have sitting, trying to figure out how to write out the?
right now, I got right at 100 grand that's waiting to be approved out of those others. And that's just round 1. So now round 2, we're opening the floodgate. It's everybody's available. It's available to
Oh,
everybody.
so you kind of limited it the first go
The
round?
first round only went for county government and city governments.
And that's all the money you guys could come up with to spend?
That's all they
apply for.
submitted.
People have to apply
People
for it.
supply-
So there's only 5
like,
applicants.
yeah.
First round.
City of Tipton said, thank you, but no, thank
Did
you.
Mr. G's apply?
And well,
They
I
wouldn't
mean, they may this round too. I don't know.
Who is
Yeah.
it? So SB 40, City of California, Health, us, who was a 5th?
You had,
Midmo, the Midmo
you
ambulance.
had Jamestown School. Because we had, well, I'll take that back. County government, city government and schools. So you had Jamestown School, you had 911, you had Health, SB 40, and
City of California.
City of California. And then even Moniteau County, even ours got denied, so we have to go back. and have to
From what I heard, our checks in the mail.
So it's not
Sure.
because it didn't qualify, it's just because paperwork didn't suit.
They didn't, what they did with 911, he wanted it to be separated. We put it all together. We had it separated, but to get it was all together. He wants the county to reimburse 911 for all the expenditures that were EMA. And then 911's application will just be for,
The minimal stuff that we did.
will be for just for
Overtime.
overtime. That's how he wanted it done.
So then the county has to go and
And then
apply
we,
for the
and then we
EMA
have to,
funds.
right, then we have to turn around and.
That makes sense.
That does make, that kind of
We,
makes sense.
I mean, we had Kevin had all the
I'm gonna fill out
narration.
Another application, do I?
Yeah, you will.
Sarah said she'll do it for
We
you.
got the whole page, we got the page. All I'm gonna do is just copy it.
Just copy,
Oh.
copy, sign, date it, redate it, white it out.
That's what I had to do. I had it all typed up and she said.
I mean,
"This
you'll
is
have a
separate."
round 2. Yeah, we just did, because when we
No,
went
you're
back through
fine.
the first time, I just like, I need this page, and this page redone. Yeah, that looks good. I mean, I did that with SBA, that way.
Retirement and health we're doing really good. We're under budget on this. And then there's a copy of the budget.
So as far as the overtime, I don't remember the number, do you? It was around
$6,000.
Yeah, so that'll come
And
back.
but I mean, that's still gonna be a faulted account or line by the end of the year. Because I think we're about 6,000 over budget now.
Already.
So that'll bring us up to zero. But so whatever probably from this point forward is still gonna be in the red by the end of the year. Which that's just
And if you have any overtime accrued because of the COVID,
right.
that will be reimbursed as well, which will be in December. And then.
Which
again-
unfortunately, I don't think we can, I mean, we have a part-timer who's quarantined, so she would have been able to maybe pick up a shift, who knows, but.
Yeah, absolutely. She was on the, if she was on the.
She wasn't scheduled at the time anyway.
I told you to be creative. I've told that to everybody. It's like,
Well, I know my
Sorry,
school's
but-
really creative. They're gonna get a huge one from our school.
I'm sure that, yeah, California school, I mean,
I still need to
go
go
That's
back.
what they keep, that we get emails on a daily basis. Give us stuff that you need, give us stuff that you want.
Yeah.
We've got CARES Act money.
Yeah, because they receive money and we receive money. They have to spend their DESI money first and then they can ask for. So yeah, I've already had 7 requests today alone.
All right, do we have anything more on accounts payable and payroll?
No,
Okay, somebody make a motion for both of them.
I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable and payroll report as read.
I'll second
Reported.
that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unfinished business. Park GIS.
real quick, just one thing on the capital budget. The only change on the capital budget is our dispatch 1 computer, which we already had budgeted to be replaced, is in the process of being replaced now. So that's the only change up there, that $1,500 expenditure, which we had 2,500 budgeted for. So there'll probably be a couple $100 more whenever our IT company does their final bill of the 2 hours it'll take to image it and install it and all that jazz. So ArcGIS online, what ArcGIS is licensure for obviously GIS, which we already have a license for Corey, who does the addressing. I would like to get a second license, as we've been performing a lot of analytics, and we've been kind of relying on Corey to be able to do that, since he has the only computer that has a license on it. But that kind of takes away from Corey doing other stuff. The license is $700 a year. I'm on a free trial of it right now, and we've been using the heck out of it. But I just didn't know if that's something that you guys would be interested in. I can show you some examples of what it is. We've been playing with it recently on our, you get that map, Stacy, that's probably somewhere on my desk. Like COVID cases, as far as like analytics of where cases are and trends and things of that sort. But it also has the ability of doing things to help with like ambulance run boxes and things. This is just one thing, was like COVID-19 confirmed cases. That's just an example of one thing that it does. But things like drive time by station, call plotting, time of day call plotting, making heat maps and things of that sort. It's taking data and making it mappable. But it has a lot of that functionality in it. So
So would that be something we could put a twist on and then ask for?
I'm using it for COVID stuff right now. But I don't know. It's more or less just informational. I don't know if there's preventable in any way.
I mean, would it be something that the health department would be able to utilize as well?
13% of the confirmed cases. And there's all up. 100%. Or,
You can see. I don't think so.
no, it doesn't.
I think the biggest benefit for it's gonna be like our, like calls,
I was
be able to
curious.
help like the sheriff's department and even like
See where
EMS
you're-
folks, say, here's your hotspots, times a day, so things of that sort.
And that's me, I'm one of my whole house.
They could probably do. Okay,
Yeah,
so explain these numbers. These numbers don't make any sense.
All right, Facebook troll. So the green area,
Yeah.
13.48% of the confirmed
Okay, so
cases.
it's not Cleaver, it's,
That whole
It's the
green
whole
area.
I'm like, I live in Cleaver, my whole family
Well,
and
you
half
have a
the town would have had.
13.48% chance of getting coronavirus.
no, I doubt it's percent chance.
But you can just, it's kind of showing a hot spot. I mean, obviously we do heat maps with it too, but it kind of showed too many.
But what are you basing it off
That's just confirmed cases, where they're located.
But it's all of the green
Okay.
equals the 13.
I just did it by fire.
No, I understand that, but this, if you add up all the numbers, that doesn't come up to 100%.
Did you add it up already?
Well,
It doesn't
it
add
does.
up.
It's not
There's
even
no
close.
way.
These analytics don't work unless they're right.
We're still in the free trial of it.
And yes, Space Patrol. Because this would be nice to throw out there, but.
That was our intent, but I was working on it like an hour before
No,
we
no,
started
no,
the meeting.
but
so-
the only issue that I see with that is that you'll have the Facebook trolls that add that all up and go that you're basing that off. of
Well,
what?
we're-
Of population.
Inaccurate numbers, my gosh, just throw some more out there.
A lot of those were done manually, so.
I make a motion to approve the
Uh,
for
yeah.
$700.
Okay.
Or do you need more than that, 700 or just
That's it.
a
Am I
window
second?
of 700?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And anybody opposed?
Hopefully it's more accurate.
No,
No way.
no way.
No.
Yeah, let me see your history on that.
Okay, you have been working with county health way too much.
So-
Yeah, because they don't know how to add either.
Making up numbers.
When it comes to the receipts
You
and
guys are
stuff,
giving
it's
COVID
like
a bad
that.
name.
Just so everyone's clear, there's no commission being made off confirmed cases. That's the newest thing is.
I know.
Oh, that was an oldie. That's like for
No,
hospital and all that
hospitals
stuff.
Make more money.
No, the health department, apparently, this is the new rumor is
Oh.
we're reporting more cases because the more cases we have, the more funding the health department gets.
So do you report, if I go get
Considering they've been
tested,
working like,
Yeah.
Without a
around the
weekend
clock,
off.
yeah.
And
if I go get
nonstop.
tested 100 times and I test positive 99 times, is my 99 positive tests included in the big picture?
yes and no. On our count, you're gonna show up as one. On the big spreadsheet, it'll show you every time
For
you
the
get
state?
tested. No, it's just a big, it can separate
Yeah,
it
but
out.
it'll go to the state.
There's a
right?
count of tests and a count of cases.
So.
You are one case who tested positive 99 tests. Phone system. So we had a project that we were looking at doing with our phone system of incorporating our office lines onto our Viper system. Come to find out that our Viper system could be upgraded to version 7, which we're on a version 6 right now that gives it some increased capabilities.
Viper.
With that, Vipers are 911 call processing equipment. So we have a quote here for $54,000.
Okay, and when did we get it?
Huh?
When did we get 6?
2-3 years ago.
Okay.
So this would give us, and I'm going to use the word analytics again, probably better than my 30 minutes before, or sorry, 45-hour meeting before the meeting of this, but that'll give us trainings. It'll give us what's called power metrics and give us the most updated software and upgrade the current workstations from Windows 7, which are end of life, to Windows 10. So that was one thing that we were looking at needing to do anyhow, because those machines are Windows 7. We'll be replacing the machines, it'll just be upgrading them to Windows 10. And then while we're doing that, looking at,
They don't give free upgrades for the software?
well, they do.
Your phone
patches.
system doesn't do that?
No, everything with that's gonna be a paid money for. So the, we went through that quote and we took off a couple years of service because our contract for maintenance, I had them quote 2 years at a time because I'm not the biggest fan of CenturyLink.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to lock us in at 5 years. So they changed the quote to go to from 5 years to 2 years. And that, then they did some playing with numbers and they said, because we like you, we're gonna give you a $3,000 discount on top of that. And that brought it to $41,000.
Just for 2 years.
The software upgrade, everything.
Yeah.
The only
So we
difference
dropped it
is
from 54 to 41.
54 to 41. Because, and they also wanted to brag about $3,000. And then you'll see all those highlighted numbers there. I had a nice, interesting phone call with our sales rep and used some inappropriate language because they inflated all of their other items. So you'll see like shipping and handling went from $85 to $200 and some dollars.
239,
Yes.
40, yeah.
So we had some unhappy exchanges. So we had another conference call today. And the final quote,
Here's the other
after Kevin complained to him, was at $39,000 for the full upgrade in 2 years. So what
Shipping and
I'm,
handling back to 8130.
so what I'm looking at doing is what this would do, would upgrade our 3 consoles to Windows 10.
Here's the final one.
And it would, I just like to throw papers at you to confuse you, Sean. Upgrade our 3 phone consoles to Windows 10, the latest software, and give us power metrics to be able to easier access some phone data, which we're very limited on now with our current system. But the other beauty about this being is that would give us the ability with Intrado. Boone County is a neighboring county that has the same system. If we upgraded this, we would have the ability to be on a network with them at some point once they do some upgrades up there. A lot easier, because right now, if they're on 2 different selective routers for 911, we'd be able to communicate back and forth with them. Right now, we're doing it through admin lines, but be able to do it through our phone system would be very ideal, and I think we can get a grant for that.
With other counties? Is that what it?
Yeah, it'd be with Boone County right now, but Boone County's doing some link up with Cole County for their text 911, so they're gonna be on the same network. We could link up to our phone system, so technically we could go from Boone to Cole roundabout way. But whenever that day comes, that'll be all grants, because there's a lot of grants for the equipment consolidation. And that would also give us a redundancy pack, because right now the phones from the phone company are routed to Morgan County, but we can do a simpler reroute to Boone also if we are ever needing to.
Why would we do that? Give me a scenario.
The building blows up,
Why wouldn't we just send it to Morgan? Because Morgan has.
a tornado took out on Morgan's busy, or Morgan's phones stop working, which they do every other week.
Morgan doesn't have as much staffing.
Morgans have staffing, they don't have space.
Yeah, if they're busy during their summer months, Boone County has more staffing to take our calls.
It's a redundancy aspect, but
But then how would they handle it? Because we're not on the same.
so we get the trailer out. Talk on the radio.
I just,
But so what you're saying is,
I'm not saying anything. I'm just trying to understand how much benefit there is in that sense.
well,
Since
so
we've
the
got
911 calls
different
have to go
bits and
somewhere.
pieces.
And
I get that.
ultimately getting them to somebody who has the same phone system, who's actually exceeds our standards with their call taking abilities. The only downfall is they're not able to talk to the responders.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, but we
And they
have,
have to-
we have that pseudo resolved with the communications trailer that we have access to. It's the call answering stuff that we can't do in that trailer. So they can go and you can answer a phone call in Iowa. And
Oh, I
typically they can get the same instructions of what we would give them. The only benefit we have is local knowledge. So as long as that call taker is able to communicate to that caller who's in distress of some sort and able to provide them some instruction, gather the necessary information, all the safety concerns of the responders. That information can then be given to a dispatcher whose the technology can be on the other side of the world to communicate via radio system to the responders. So really it's the public connection that you're needing. So if we had, we were down for a couple days whenever fiber was cut in Jeff City, couldn't tell you how that affected us. It's CenturyLink fiber and we're on AT&T for our 911. So calls automatically got routed to Morgan for a whole day. So calls mostly get routed from Morgan up here because they've been having some phone issues as of late as well. But it's just one of those things that it gives us another option too. That's not the sole reason I'm wanting to upgrade it. It has other features in it that are able to, such as our conferencing, a little bit more customizable, and text activation is another one. That's a good one to be able to communicate to folks, because right now we're using our Rave for it. But there's a lot of different features that I
So
did.
if you upgrade, can you get rid of some of these other things? You can like, the texting, what'd you call it, Rave or Wave? What'd you just say?
Rave, no, that's just what we use right now. That's, so for instance,
You can't eliminate another service.
no, they're two different
by
things. We're
upgrading.
just using one. It's not the true intent of it, but it works for us to do. So like, for instance, we use them a lot for like 911 hangups is probably our most reoccurring one. Someone calls 911 accidentally, call them back, they don't answer. We can send them a text message and they're actually able to reply. There could be some people where they call 911, but they don't feel like talking because of a dangerous situation. Rather than saying hang up and text 911, we don't ever want to lose communication with the caller. We can initiate a text session then. We're using our Rave system for that, which it works for us. It's just not the intent of 911, but this would be able to do it from the phone system, which we're not able to do it now. That's just
We went to text 911, how is that?
We have text to 911.
That's what I was
Yeah.
not
What is
understanding.
So you right now get on your phone and-
Yeah.
and put 911 there and text, it goes to our phone system.
Okay, so we've already got that.
Yes, we're the only one in the region that has text and Rave and smart. But to be able to initiate, to send a message from
Turn
here
around and
to
send
you
it.
first, we have to use our Rave system for it, which it works.
So this upgrade would give you the capability instead of.
To do it from the
using-
phone, it would do it from the phone system, but it also upgrades the software to have, we could add more buttons on there for our speed dials, because right now we're limited to 10, we can go up to 60. You can color code things to make it more, you call it user friendly. Each dispatcher can have their own profile to where they have phone layout set to them. You could eliminate a lot of unused items off of the screen, because right now the phone screen is cluttered, but you can't change it. So this would enable, rather than saying, well, if you need to do this, skip these 3 menus and go to this one, you can just not have those 3 menus you never use on there hidden. So, but it's an upgrade that it includes one piece of hardware, but it's essentially a software upgrade. And I would anticipate probably around 2024, looking at doing a hardware refresh on the phone system equipment. And then we'd already have the software upgraded to it. Then they probably have version 8, who knows, but it would be that's why we only wanted to do 2 years as well, see what's at in case of a hardware refresh needs to come early. So ultimately it's $39,000 for the software refresh, and that gives us the power matrix and the newest version. And it also includes the addition of our office lines
I know we had $65,000 set aside for the High Point Tower. We've already decided we're gonna have to put that off another year.
We won't be able to get that done this year.
So there's money there or did we already allocate?
We haven't allocated for anything. That's the top line there.
Yeah.
Your 65,000 for High Point repeater.
That's gonna have to be next year, I guess.
The planning of it, yeah, and it's just a matter of kind of doing some site studies and things of that sort.
They could whittle this down just a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, so their explanation of everything,
Yeah, well, what did they say when things
they
grew?
danced around it.
Yeah.
I got it recorded if you want to hear it, but it's,
Highly understanding.
they dance around it, but essentially everything's built off of percentages and something of that sort. So,
Okay.
whatever.
I battled with
Did
him
you say
for
whatever
20
with love?
years. I mean, they.
I don't
whatever
know.
means
I think I laughed at him, but
We're kind of stuck with them. I mean, it's not like we can go
Yeah,
somewhere
we're
else.
basically fishing a barrel on
can-
that one.
we can, I've been in talks with AT&T about taking over the maintenance of the system.
Okay.
Which I was really ready to do, but the new tech that they assigned to us, he's very good. I like him. I don't like who he works for, but he's very comparable to the older tech, the tech who was here, and I think that's pretty important. He's not too far away. He's went to school, learned all the stuff for the system.
For AT&T or for CenturyLink?
CenturyLink.
Okay.
So that's why I haven't been pushing to get away from CenturyLink, because that tech who's going to be the one that comes out and fixes the stuff, we've got a good working relationship with him.
So you've met him,
I have his cell phone. It's,
Okay.
yeah, he's been here numerous times, and it's
I'm pretty sure they didn't drink beer again.
not really yet though.
Not yet. He's working on it. He's trying to get a date.
It's barbecue.
We could.
Chili supper,
Oh, chili cook-off.
Yeah,
His
invite him to
benefit.
the cook-off.
you know.
Yeah.
We'll hook you all up.
I got his business card.
Okay.
beer.
We're not even Facebook friends.
Not yet?
Oh my gosh.
I think they could come down just a little bit more.
How much?
All right, here's just that side. Trust me, they can. And I have to forego their KU tickets for a person. No, that's the truth. They did. Mhm. They like that.
My friend just retired from CenturyLink. She worked for him for over 30 years since she was a kid. And, well, through the various name changes they've had, and they offered her a golden parachute type thing if she retired early, because they're trying to get rid of their higher paid
Hmm.
people that use the phone systems and stuff, because a lot of them have been there for a very long time, so they make good money. And she was like, okay, I'll retire at 62 instead of later. She's real happy.
All right,
She's
so
done with
any other discussion about the phone system upgrade? Questions? Motion? Or ideas?
Or if you want to even table it for next
Table
week,
it.
it doesn't matter to me.
Let him,
There's your price temp, that's from the first.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
That's the first one. And
So everything that's in here is, they added some because they missed some hours.
oh, they
So
did, darn.
well, that's their fault for misquoting.
The only other part I thought would be, because this is, oh no, it's 24, never mind.
well, that's what, yeah, so you saw,
We're good.
you saw this, that makes no sense to me, because you're doing year one and year two. That should be 12 at a time,
Mm-hmm,
but it's the ballpark of,
the same, yeah, so I don't know what that comes
You
to.
just want to table this
It
till next
doesn't,
month?
yeah, you, I guess. I mean, you just talk with them some more and see what you
All right.
I mean,
Motion,
so,
we table it till next month.
so I mean, for looking at this, you're looking at probably 400,
Or 500
500
bucks.
bucks.
Yeah, but it's just a principle of matter. No, just because I know what they.
Okay, so if there's no motion, we'll just go ahead and we'll table it. The CD investment.
So we talked about doing a CD investment for election for a 2-year, called election earmark. I called around to the banks and we're talking about 15,000, didn't we? 15 or 25,000?
15, yeah.
Yeah, so this says 20.
Technically, you need to do 16, but for election to cover.
So they are pretty consistent whenever it's People's Bank at 0.35, Commerce Bank at 0.145, Central Bank at 0.25, Hawthorne 0.1, and Tipton Latham at 0.75. So for CD rates, they're all less than 1%, the highest being Tipton Latham.
I thought you said one in there at 1 point something.
0.145.
Oh,
0.1.
point one.
Yeah, they're all
Things have
points.
Gone back to crappy.
So you're
So-
gonna send me that, so I didn't have to write all those down?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just making sure.
So we could just, I could call tomorrow and just see if you guys want to do the highest to take $17,500. That sounds good enough. 17,000.
That'd be fine, yeah, I mean, 16 is,
60 right out.
Yeah.
because it'd probably be, I mean, that's with figuring, say, next year's rates
Worst case.
for the newspaper, all that stuff would be much higher or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could just take the highest. I could check rates tomorrow and just
Whatever.
whatever the highest is, go with that for 2 years
For 16.
for 16,000.
We didn't,
Because when,
we need a motion for that.
don't we have one coming due in November?
We have
When do we have,
November 2020.
and how much is that one?
That's 137, almost $138,000 CD. That's at Tipton Latham.
So why don't you just, when that comes due, just take some of that out of there and create,
Well, part of
or,
that is because we want to do it now, so we have access to it. I mean, I know we'll have the money, but
When's the bill typically come for?
you'll, because our election won't be until November and you'll be billed, I mean, December.
oh, I thought it was before. I'm sorry. So
No,
yeah,
I mean,
no, that would actually
you
work.
file in August.
I
and
thought it
stuff,
was in
but
August.
no, you file in August and then the election is in November and they'll bill you then.
After.
And so,
Afterwards? Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, we could just wait for that.
When's the filing deadline?
Monday, Tuesday,
Monday or Tuesday,
18th.
18th. Tuesday.
You file. Did you find somebody?
No, but the person that I talked to, who may be doing something else. I just wondered if it was someone.
Yeah, we'll table this one too. I'd go for
So
November.
just
Yeah,
take,
we've
just
got
take
one.
16,000 out of the 138,000 one.
I mean, we'll come up with a number.
I just do 16 and in November and
And then just.
And if,
roll
and
over
if
the rest
Tipton
of it.
Latham is still the highest, just roll it back into Tipton
I
Latham.
know,
but in
we're
two
all over the
separate-
place, scratch out everything we said. Just, we discussed rates for a new CD. And then we decided to table it until the next,
and Consensus was just wait till November.
Thank you. I like your wording.
yeah, I'm not smart enough. I don't know words like that.
Just.
Okay, so director's report.
One thing that we don't have on the agenda, but just to make you guys aware of, we had an individual stop by, I think Troy Eddy spoke with somebody because our building is needing some tuck point or something done. There's a lot of gaps in the bricks. It's I don't know who did it, but it's not looking very good.
Of
Yes, it's
the
been-
original or
No, we had to come back.
we had it
There's-
done once and that was done by,
There's holes.
Wood,
in-
Danny Wood did that.
So I don't know when that
Did
was.
you do that?
Probably those
Has it been
birds.
that long? Oh,
Yeah, it's
well, then
been-
it's a long time ago. I thought it was literally just a couple of years ago.
You haven't had it done since I've been.
I don't
Okay.
remember.
It
it
haven't
hasn't been done
Okay.
since I've been on the board, so that's been.
Okay,
4
never
years.
mind. Then maybe we
so-
probably need to look at that again.
This guy stopped by and he recommended going through and removing the mortar that's cracked and using a mortar caulk.
Okay.
And he gave us a quote of $2,500.
So this guy saw it, decided to come find somebody.
Troy Eddy talked to him up in Jamestown.
So did Troy
Central-
notice it? And Troy went to a guy that
Yes.
he knows. Okay.
Yes, Central Missouri Masonry Repair.
All right, that
So-
makes more sense.
Troy spoke with him. He just stopped by yesterday and he said, I heard you need some tuck pointing done. Oh, well, okay,
Okay.
sure, yeah, we do, but I think I probably talked to Troy in passing of the
Alright.
holes in the,
I would-
you can see it, but,
I would say talk to a couple other people.
but
or-
yeah, this guy is a local guy, but just make you guys aware that that dropped off and he's looking at, I don't know what anyone's thoughts are, but it's a mortar caulk. So he'd go through and power wash it all out, chisel out the problematic mortar and then put the caulk feet in there.
Yeah, Danny did it for free.
I don't think people do that kind of
Wait.
stuff anymore.
That was a long time ago.
And I was actually pretty surprised at,
Did they lay the brick?
Yeah, he just kind of fixed spots. That's all he did.
I mean,
So
originally.
we had
did the
somebody
brick.
actually come in and do
I-
the whole thing. They did anything that was brick.
well, looking at it,
But if it's been long enough, you haven't been on the board, or nobody here else has been on the board but me, then
I just know that
it's
there's
been
holes.
long enough.
All I know is there's holes in the building.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know Danny did it. I mean, he does masonry work. That's what,
He used to, he's worked for Como for
yeah, but he
15
did,
years.
well, he was doing masonry work when he did this building.
It's been a long time.
Sure was.
So that's just something that came today. So
And
I
he
said,
just
oh,
did it
yes.
on a weekend here and weekend there kind of thing. And he just gave back to the community, is what he did. And we paid for his
The materials.
supplies,
Yeah.
yeah, and stuff. That's all we did. Because we didn't have any money back
Yeah,
then.
well, I was impressed by him saying he's gonna do the whole building for $2,500. So.
Shit.
Or is he just doing?
cheap.
Well,
or
the
is he
caulk
just-
nowadays though, he's probably just taking out the problem mortar, because you can caulk right over the
Everything,
new stuff.
yeah.
Cause I just did half my house.
That's what he's doing. He's got the problematic mortar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull out the bad mortar and it's literally
And then I
squeezing it.
And then I asked him to, the new tin, if he could caulk that up too, so no wasps get up in there. But we've had, the wasp spray that we just bought, literally they're burrowing in one of the holes in the brick and you can look in there, it's plywood. So it's something that needs to be done. So for our report, we are full staffed, although we do have one leaving and one coming, so we'll have one in training for probably not too long. Our newest gal who was in training got out in about a month. She's working tonight. She's doing phenomenal. I've heard great things of her, so we got a good group of folks. Our training that we did in July, we did an EMD refresher. Stacy just did special needs or mental illness and call taking for mental illness. The list of projects that we have going, we talked about the phone system upgrade today. We're still working with Midwest Computech and CGIS and Como for our firewall, which is supposed to be swapped out whenever we changed IT vendors. The issue that we're having with our network is the CGIS security guy was able to get onto our network and see other network traffic not related to us. So he kind of was worried that they might be able to see what we were doing, which they couldn't, but it was pretty much Como's mess up and Como's trying to fix it. So we're still waiting on that. I'm gonna work on some changes to our radio console layouts. That ACE application is gonna be on hold for some time. I talked with Kurt Blake, we're still looking at doing the NAWAS phone under our console rather than the phone that's hanging on the wall above the copier. Corey, Stacy, and actually we're gonna reach out to Omnigo, updating some of our GIS data in our CAD system, mainly pertaining to intersections, to help those map better for our responders. We're gonna look at some pending things like status lights, adding a second headset onto a couple consoles.
What's the dual tone button?
So like, I put these on here so I don't forget about them
I
either.
know.
But Tipton and Fortuna, every call except for medical, both departments go to it.
Oh, yeah,
So I'm gonna make a button that
okay,
it just tones
That
them out
makes
the same,
sense.
instead of pushing
Yeah.
two buttons, it's just one.
makes sense.
I figured you guys wouldn't care about that one, so I skipped it, sorry.
Former dispatcher trying to
Yeah.
figure out what you're on.
I haven't changed things on dispatchers lately, so I want to drive them nuts by making the radios chirp more. Like right now, whenever we talk on Midmo, it chirps, and a lot of people don't wait for that chirp. So if we add a chirp onto all the channels, I think everyone would become more accustomed to it, and we'd have less clipping. Yeah. So, our base station replacements, I know we talked about that a couple months ago. Some of those original base stations, we're gonna look at formulating a plan for our budgets, for having a couple a year. That's a SDR thing for our mapping, and the data room cleanup, that's on hold as well. So this is kind of the list of projects that we're looking at. And that's just a snapshot of what we talked about. in the budget.
Is the second headset just for like training type?
Mainly training, because right now we're tethered,
Mhm.
and no one wants to tether right now, because you say you're gonna promote social distancing,
Mhm.
and yet you're tied to somebody who's 3 feet away from you. So
When we're something that really cuts down on our outgoing volume, so it's harder for the responders and the callers to hear us.
so what I've
You
done,
just literally cut your volume in half. I mean, there's probably no way to tweak that, is there?
you're dealing with a cord. So what I did in previous employment with the same system is just add a second base station to the same radio station, so they're both function the same. It worked just fine. Let's see, nothing major. Went and talked to the city of Clarksburg and talked to them
Who is
about
that
their,
exactly?
The carpenters.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
really?
carpenter,
Yeah.
the city council of Clarksburg. I don't know who's all on it. It's a city council.
Shirley Elliott.
But talked to them about that. They have a new weather siren, so I talked to them about how we activate it and did a little presentation on Smart 911. It's probably the biggest thing out of everything that we did last month in July. Rest of that's all numbers. If you guys wanted to see a bunch of numbers.
Clarksburg has a water tower, right?
Mhm.
Clarksburg has a new water tower, right?
A new water power?
Is it a
I
water
don't
tower?
know.
A water tower.
They have a water
Yeah,
tower.
a water tower.
How tall is that?
A tall's a water tower?
Yeah.
Not very big.
Enough to push pressure into the.
Yeah. They got a new pumping system or something here lately.
Oh, maybe that's what I thought was. a
Yeah.
tank. But it's not, what shape is it? Is it just a big tank or is it one on legs that sits
It's.
like the one out here, like the one we have in town, the two we have in town, three we have in town?
Is it just a tall cylinder?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, it's just, it's really thin and it goes. Yeah.
Sure, I just can't remember, let's see how much I frequent Clarksburg, but I can't
I
remember.
don't know if I can remember. All right.
They have an outdoor warning siren.
Yeah, good.
It's fine, City Hall.
They really needed to take out a lot of those trailers.
Hmm?
Sorry.
Tommy's wiped
Tommy's
out
just
most
waiting
of
for them
the-
to cook something and they blow.
Our QA,
They don't do that anymore.
so our average of our QA for the month of July was 95.51%. It's pretty good, with most of our calls being perfect. So
Yeah.
that's outstanding. So yes, we did have some 7 non-compliant calls, being underneath that 75%, but you're going to have, there's no place that you're going to go to that's going to be 100% everywhere. So even by standards, we're allowed to be around 10% or so of our calls. in the
Still think my
non-compliant.
idea of anybody under 75%, You take the lowest and they get terminated. We just keep hiring people.
Our overtime is gonna go up.
It's a joke for everybody. I didn't realize that, but
It's cruel.
I know it is, but
That's why I said you're
So
still
QA is
in.
doing pretty decent on that. So you can see like our non-compliant, you're allowed up to 10%. We're at 9%. So we're doing pretty decent. Of course, that was only Q and 11 of the,
I will say when you're over 10%, you get fired.
thanks.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll just not write those ones down.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
No,
Uh-huh.
he does the graphs. He can make
Yeah,
it
he's
look
being
any way he
creative.
wants.
Yeah, you see how he does
He
this
is
one.
creative. I know, that's what he does.
Being creative, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So one of the projects that we saw in there about intersection data, this is one of the big reasons we're wanting to do that. As you see here, there's 491 that we call them address overrides. That means they're most likely intersections. They're not a good address.
Mhm.
So by cleaning up those intersections, they'd be able to map properly. And that 491 would then be placed into the proper zone where the call occurred. So like it's showing 688 calls for service in the city of California. That's not truly accurate because I'm sure a lot of these 491 are in there. So we're needing that cleaned up. So we're going to reach out to Omnigo first to have them assign a GIS specialist to us to do that. Because we were just going to have Stacy and Corey do it manually, but I think there's a cleaner way of doing it because we need to update some stuff with spacing and things of that sort and the wording of it all. Most of the calls being of a lower priority, which is typical. And just a bunch of numbers. And then the number of all their call types by agencies. So that's all we have. That's in your email if you wanted to see it. Did you get your email today, Scott?
Which one? I got lots of emails today.
The important ones for me.
I don't read anything from you. I don't even have my phone.
That's all I've got.
All right. So closed session. Do we need to go into closed session?
Yes, please.
So is there a motion to go into closed session?
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Second? All right, we'll call it, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.